Welcome to the Ass Menagerie Sanctuary. Named after the beloved Laura the donkey, this incredible haven was founded by one kind-hearted woman with a mission to save as many animals as she could. You might spot some familiar faces, like Eli the majestic Great Pyrenees, Ivor the rescue Manx cat, and Yeti the tiny Yorkie with a big story. I was lucky enough to be invited to groom some of the sanctuary's more unusual residents. So stick around for this one-of-a-kind experience.
My name's Lee, and I'm the founder of the Ass Menagerie Sanctuary in Wainfleet, Southern Ontario. So we bought this beautiful property in winter of 2016 into 2017, and I had, by the end of the summer in 2017, managed to rescue quite a few animals. At that point, I knew I either had to stop rescuing animals or I had to officially become a sanctuary and register as a charity so that I could continue taking in more animals and helping more animals. When I initially started taking in animals, every time I showed up at the feed store, I was asking different questions about different animals. And then the manager there started asking me how my menagerie was doing. Because every time I came in, I was asking about a different breed and species. So that reminded me of the glass menagerie. And so I was making a joke saying that I was going to rescue a donkey and start a sanctuary called the Ass Menagerie. Except the joke was on me because then somebody called me to take a donkey. And so then I did decide to go forward and start a sanctuary. We have about 29 animals and over 30 birds. So we have llamas, goats, pigs, sheep, ponies, alpacas, dogs, cats, turkeys, chickens, ducks. I'm a donkey, obviously. I'm forgetting somebody, but I always do because it's truly a menagerie around here. It's like a Noah's Ark thing going on with at least two of everything. You can find us on our website, which is theassmenagerie.com. We also have Facebook and Instagram. Certainly, we could use help. We can use donations. A lot of people think that we are government funded somehow, and that's just not true. We're quite small as far as our following goes on Facebook and Instagram, so please follow us. The supporters that we have are absolutely wonderful, but there's not that many of them. We can also use volunteers. We have weekly volunteers, but if you happen to be in Southern Ontario, so as you can see, we've also, our barn is 5,000 square feet and 3.5 stories high. And you can see that we've recently had to bite the bullet and do a major renovation. We were losing barn boards like crazy, and they were 100 years old. So it was just time, and that was a very expensive project, as you can imagine. So we can use all the help we can get. We also do run different cat programs. We find that because we're in the country, we get a lot of dumps out here. And so we keep an eye out for those and we spay and neuter them. They either go to be adopted, or we do have a feral colony that lives, we're quite close to the lake. We have a feral colony down by the lake, and we have caregivers that watch for them and so that we can keep an eye on them. So over on the other side there, we have Duck Cottage, that little building over there. That's where the turkeys and the ducks live in there. And then this is just a workshop. And then we grow all the animals' own vegetables in the summertime in this vegetable garden. But we haven't got it planted yet. We're really far behind this year because winter was just seeming to go on forever. And then here is our pollinator garden, our Save the Bees and the Monarch Butterflies garden. And that's a little orchard. Look at all three of the sheep are hiding behind the tree. Oh no, there's only two of them. There's another one over there. I'd like to point out that Peter doesn't normally live in here permanently. This is definitely too small for him, but he would attack. So he's just been put in here while you're here. Look at him. He's raring to go.
This thing is hilarious.
He's raring to get you.
My most favorite resident is definitely Emmett the sheep.
So Emmett, and Ian is also over there. Emmett doesn't realize he's a sheep. They were bottle babies last year, weren't you? So they were both treated exactly the same. You know, they were both bottle fed the same. They had the same amount of contact with people and volunteers. But Emmett became, you know, human bonded, and Ian knows he's over there. He knows he's a sheep. You don't. Sometimes you do, when it suits you. Piggies! Come here, Ernie. Come on, piggies. We do have another pig, but he's deaf, so he can't hear me. Sometimes it's convenient that he doesn't get a treat when the other ones do. Now, Ernie's favorite thing is beets, but I don't have any. Hey, get out of here. Oh, Emmett. Listen, it's not all for you. Ernie's pretty funny. He's not aggressive at all, but he's not overly social. He'll like suss you out for like a snack, and then if you don't have one, he'll be like, when he walks away in disgust with you. So Emmett like I said, he was a bottle baby last year. So that means, and Ian, they both came together from the same place. Maisie ended up coming. We'll tell her story more when we groom her. But she was alone, and she's very skittish. She can't be without a herd. So I had spoken to the farmer who had previously had a seat. It's getting to be a long story. Spoke to the farmer and asked him if he had another senior sheep that could come to us, because the last one he had given us needed a lot of medical attention. And he ended up calling and saying he had 2 lambs, come and get the lambs. They were rejected by their mothers. So a lot of times the farmers don't want to bottle feed these lambs until they're ready to go to slaughter. It's time consuming and costly. And they have to do it for like months. So some farmers will call them, but he called me and said, would you take them? And I said, sure. Who doesn't want cute little lambs? So anyway, I went running up there and got them, and then we bottle fed them, and so that's where they came from. So Ian and Emmett. And Ernie, and what I believe is his brother, Bert, they were actually abandoned at a very fancy horse riding facility. When the facility shut down, the young girls took their fancy horses and left the pigs behind. Just part of this whole potbelly pig fiasco where everybody gets them. They're cute, they like to dress them up, take selfies with them and everything else. Then once they get a little bit older, especially the males, if they're unneutered, they're a behavior issue. They get quite destructive. They smell. Male pigs really need to be neutered or else they get really boorish. That's where the term comes from. So we often will get calls once potbelly pigs get to a certain age because they haven't been neutered, or we just get it because they didn't realize how big they are, and they're not a dog. They need. People just don't do their research. It's not that they can't be lovely pets; they can, but you have to know what you're getting in for. And so we get a lot of calls for potbelly pigs. They're not as much the fad now as they were years ago, but we're still getting calls about them. Hi, Marshall. So Marshall is a barn cat, and normally if we have a friendly barn cat, we've had it happen before where they've turned friendly and we've adopted them out. But in Marshall's case, I know exactly where he came from, and I know he was born outside into a colony where the landlord there was about 47 cats rescued from that colony, and the landlord was trying to run them over and threatening to shoot them. So I know exactly where he came from. And we had 8 from that rescue, 5 of which went on to homes. You're getting a little too excited. 5 of which went on to homes. This guy, however, his brother is here, and they're bonded, and another one from the colony. So the 3 of them are quite bonded, and the other 2 are not like this. Why he turned so friendly, I don't know. But good for you. So it's nice having a friendly one in the barn. But you can see his litter mate there on the straw. Emmett's in here licking this salt lick. He has his own salt licks, but everything is better if Emmett can steal it in Emmett's mind. Hi, Folky. He's got a bit of a nervous personality to start with, but he doesn't know what's up today. And plus, he's upset because he's stuck inside. So he has a metabolic disorder. It may be Cushing's caught early. He has difficulty processing sugars properly. So the Cushing's meds work fairly well for him if he will take them, which is sometimes is a struggle. So what happens is if he gets too many sugars, he gets really stiff and bunched up, which obviously we can give him anti-inflammatories for, but we don't know what other kind of issues it's going to cause, like if it's going to cause him to colic or something, if he's going to have organ issues from it. So the morning grasses are much sweeter. So he's not allowed out in the morning, which he's not happy about at all. And I don't blame him. It sucks. All of his friends get to go out and play, and he's stuck in here. He does have hay in there. You will notice they're very bad haircuts. They're horrible. And we know. But when the vet comes to do our spring vetting, we actually have them sedated because we cannot give them a proper exam. Their vaccines, they have their fighting teeth checked. There's no way that we can trim their hooves without them trying to kick the crap out of us. Nor can we shave like the bottom parts of their legs and that sort of thing. And you will notice they've got like a lot of scabbing on them. When they first came to us, they had horrific mange. So they have a lot of scarring left from the mange. They don't currently have, of course, they've been here for years. So, so Alvis, he is like a cartoon character. I don't think he has a brain cell in there. You can tell just by looking at him. We love him though. So Laura, you can always tell which animals came to us young. And Laura did come to us young. She was from a backyard breeder, neglectful situation. So she came to us just as a yearling. So obviously she's much more socialized and used to people and treats, too many treats. She's like, what's with this celery? You have carrots in there, lady. I know you have carrots in there. She's so stubborn. She's so spoiled. She wants carrots. Look at. She's like, I'll just pick. It's not like a Halloween basket where you just pick your own. Okay, wait, I'll find you another one, but that's it. Okay. Here. You'll see as we walk around. Most of our animals are not prime specimens. There's a reason that they're here. These guys have a bunch of mange scarring, and actually Alvis, the black one, you'll notice one of his, well, you can't really notice right now, but one of his front legs is shorter because it was broken and never tended. And it would have been done in his youth because it was, you can see him lifting it as the,
he was doing this
yes,
earlier.
yeah. So it's because it was done before the growth plates closed, right? So it was, by the time he came here, he was older, I think about 8, 9. So you'll notice there's little odd things, and you can ask me about them. I sometimes forget.
Now that we've met the residents, it's time to do some barn chores. Because are you really volunteering if you're not doing the dirty work?
You're gonna kind of try to figure out where, there's obviously pee here, but figure out where it starts. And then, because a lot of times it's under the shavings like that. There you go. There you go. So we do that with the rake. And then there's mats in here. All of the stalls have mats underneath the shavings. And then we just kind of squeegee them off with this, like the rest of the urine. So,
All right.
go for it.
Seems pretty easy.
It is easy. It is easy.
As I muck the llama's stalls, let's learn a little bit more about them. With their gentle faces and fluffy fleece, they are more than just adorable pasture pals. Their fleece is actually super soft and warm. Some even compare it to cashmere. It's lightweight, hypoallergenic, and makes amazing yarn for knitting and weaving. But llamas aren't just bred for fleece. In many places, they are used as pack animals, helping to carry loads across rugged terrain. They've been trusted companions for centuries, especially in places like the Andes Mountains.
Ooh, yummy, delicious. Here, this one's better.
Yeah, I was going to say, this one's kind of
That one's sad.
kind of sad.
So we're not shearing them this spring because this is all the coat that they put on, and they're quite senior and scrawny. So fleece in general breathes very well. It's not overly hot. So I'm trying to get away with not shearing them, but I do want to kind of obviously brush them up a little bit, clean them up a little bit, just so that they're not, I don't want them to get matted, but they're also not used to being handled. So they came here about 1.5 years ago. They were going to be most likely euthanized. They hadn't been sheared, and their hooves hadn't been done in 4 or 5 years at least. They were at a hobby type of farm with an elderly couple and were severely neglected. The elderly couple passed, and the house was being sold, and so they were going to be euthanized. One of the siblings reached out actually to a fellow sanctuary to see if they could take them. They couldn't, and they spoke to me about if I could take them. So they came here, and they're quite elderly. As with most of our animals, they are not the finest specimens of their species. So these guys, you can tell, she's going to lay down, which is fine. Want to lay down? No? What do you... So llamas do a thing called couche, which they probably will. Just like if you can think of a camel going down to lay down. And they do it as a defense mechanism, which I don't understand the point of that, because I guess to maybe...
Play dead?
No, I think maybe it's to protect their abdominal organs. I don't know. But also she's had a bit of sedation, so she's thinking about it. So both of them in the front, you'll notice, are walking on their pasterns, which is like saying they're walking on this part of the wrist. It's not normal. That in itself is not extremely painful. It's that all of the tendons, ligaments, everything have been stretched out. We've spoken to the vets, we've spoken to a llama rescue. There's nothing that we can really do about it at this point. It's caused by excess weight and lack of proper minerals. So likely, from what we can put together from their history, they were used, they're both female, so they were likely used to be bred over and over and over without being given the proper nutrition. Although it looks painful because it looks like it's broken, it's not broken. The pain comes from the arthritis in the knees, and also the back from not being from not walking properly. So they are on arthritic injections actually for that, and also they can have top-ups if they need of other anti-inflammatories. Right now they're going a little bit more down on the knees, like I said, because they've had a bit of sedation, so they're not upset about Vanessa being here. So usually they do stand a little more upright than Amelia is right now. Are you sleepy? Are you sleepy, love? It's the only thing I can think of.
This one's shedding.
Yeah. Oh, you're a lot of animal.
Now that the llamas are all brushed out and feeling a whole lot better, it's time to go say hello to Ivor, the rescue cat.
Well, she did. Elsie did. Emmett. Right?
Oh, that's the black one.
Oh, that's Maisie. So Maisie's upset because the boys are missing. She wants the boys to go outside with her.
Some of you might remember Ivor from his grooming video. He came to the sanctuary as a stray, desperately in need of help, and he couldn't have found a better place to land. Ivor was in rough shape when he arrived. He was painfully thin and starving, with all kinds of parasites, including mites in his ears that left permanent damage. He also tested positive for FIV, a condition that's all too common in stray male cats. This happens because unneutered males often fight over territory, and FIV spreads through deep bite wounds. The sanctuary would have loved to keep Ivor, but because he's FIV positive, it poses a risk to the other cats. It wasn't safe for him to stay. Luckily, Ivor has a new home lined up. On Sunday, he'll be moving on to his next adventure as the one and only king of his new castle. Now, it's time for me to groom a very fluffy sheep named Maisie, and this is my first time doing anything like this. Now, usually dog clippers aren't really meant for sheep shearing. Sheep have super thick fleece, and the lanolin in their wool can gum up the blades.
To the skin, I guess. So I'm trying to avoid that.
You won't get it too short with these. It's fine.
Lanolin is this natural, waxy substance that sheep produce to keep their wool waterproof and soft. It's amazing stuff for making lotion and balms, but not so great for your clippers. Because dog clippers aren't as heavy-duty as sheep shears, they can get clogged up pretty quickly with all that lanolin and dense fleece. But in a pinch, like today, it's totally fine to use them. You just have to clean the blades often to keep them working properly. Oh, and here's a fun fact. Did you know that a single sheep can produce up to 30 pounds of fleece each year? That's a whole lot of wool to keep them warm and cozy. So wish me luck as I learn the ropes of sheep shearing and try to keep these clippers from getting jammed up with lanolin.
Get shorter than Emmett. Okay. Because I can tell I can definitely get shorter than Emmett. I wasn't sure if that's what you wanted. I like the black face.
Yeah, I know. And her little freckled legs.
Yeah.
Little Dalmatian legs, or whatever you call them. So when Maisie first came, we didn't know, as with all of our animals, we didn't know if they had neglected to shear her because this seems like an incredible amount of wool.
Did she just come?
No.
Oh.
When she first came.
Oh.
We didn't know if she hadn't been
I
shorn
understand.
in a few years. But no, this is just a year. This is just her winter coat. Hey, you're a woolly beast, aren't you? So would you find this comparable, like to say, I don't know, like shaving a Newfoundlander or something like that? No.
Not like that. It's similar to shaving like a matted doodle.
Right.
Similar, but the oil production on this animal's skin is unlike anything
The
I've done.
lanolin, yeah.
The lanolin, yeah. So that is a bizarre feeling on my clipper and hands. Yeah. But I would say like shaving a matted doodle, it would be the most similar
it's just so
thing.
thick, right?
It's just thick, and then you're like
so dense.
pulling, like the way it comes off like this, like that's how it comes off when you're shaving a matted dog. Yeah. So in that way, I would say it's similar, but that's it. What are you doing over there?
We got it.
We had one. I'm sure that we're going to have people commenting that this is not how you shear sheep. We are fully aware of that fact, because they are usually flipped, and you know, it's not pleasant for them. So we would rather use a bit of sedation, give the animal a break if they need a break. You know, obviously we're using much quieter shears. We're not shearing as close because we don't need the wool production, so we don't go as close to the skin. So they're much less likely to be cut. And then of course, okay. And then of course they won't have the sunburn either, right?
So that's why they use sheep shearers, is because of the lanolin. That's why. Because otherwise it really does cut through this fine. It just gets gummed up.
On them.
Hello. Is this Emmett?
Yes. That's Ian behind you. The sedation might be wearing off. And
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you.
oh, okay, all right. I'd say the medication has worn off. All right, I'm gonna get her up against the wall.
Oh, okay. I think we did it.
Okay, Maze. Okay.
Your tail looks a little funny, but
That's okay. There you go. You're free. I know.
you must feel better.
Since I'm not talking to you either. She's mad at me too.
All done.
What do you think? What do you think?
You feel better?
She's like, yeah, but I don't want to admit it.
You're gonna feel better the next hot day, I'll tell you that much.
And that's a wrap on today's sanctuary adventure. I hope you enjoyed watching as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. These animals deserve all the love and care we can give, and your support truly makes a difference. If you'd like to help out the sanctuary and the wonderful animals here, please consider making a donation. Every little bit goes a long way toward keeping them safe, healthy, and happy. You'll find the donation link in the description below and in the pinned comments. Thank you for being a part of today's journey. Until next time, stay kind and keep making the world a better place for animals.
Oh my god! You can't have the snacks! Oh my god! Go! Wow, you're really food motivated. Excuse me.